Twitter.
What would we do without Twitter?
Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 207 of the podcast, or you're joining us live on Facebook or YouTube. Today's Sunday, September the 6th. We're coming off of UFC Fight Night 176, Overeem versus Sakai in Las Vegas, Nevada. And joining me from Las Vegas, Nevada, graciously at the last minute, one of my favorite people in MMA, who I texted about 7 minutes before we went live right now. And like the champion she is, she jumped on the air. The Southpaw Outlaw, Serena DeJesus. Serena, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. I'm functioning somehow on 1,400 calories per day. I'm getting ready for a fight of my own at the end of the month in your lovely state of Florida. And I'm excited.
Yeah. So you're fighting in Miami, and that's pretty much all we can announce right now. So everybody's going to have to wait on that news.
It'll be on Fight Pass, though.
All right. So you're fighting in Miami and on Fight Pass. People are going to start narrowing this down. People are pretty intuitive out there, especially listeners of this show. But if you want to get the scoop on the opponent and the venue and everything like that, not that you need to know the venue because there's no audiences, just follow Serena at Serena Southpaw on Twitter, Instagram. And so that's exciting. So let's talk a little bit about your, I guess, extended fight camp, because you've been training your ass off through this quarantine just in case, have you had opportunities come up that fell through? What's been going on in your world?
I honestly wanted to fight because honestly, my last fight with Invicta in that tournament, everybody pretty much was on the ball saying, I got robbed when I versed Taylor Gordado, aka, as I call her, Burger Girl, because of her love of In-N-Out burgers. Not calling her fat. I'm not calling her fat. She loves In-N-Out. You know what? So I'm just going to call her Burger Girl. So good on
That's
her.
Fair.
So I got robbed. The judges shouldn't apologize to me. They should apologize to Taylor for letting her ass get whooped by me, and then Tanisha Tennant. So she got her ass whooped twice in one night, and then looked like her ear was 8 months pregnant after I was done with her. So that lit a fire under my ass. So in Vegas, after the pandemic took hold, the gyms were closed. So do you know what my crazy ass does? I'm like, hey Marv, my coach Marvin Eastman, who's my Muay Thai coach. I'm like, hey, let's go train outside in Las Vegas in the sun. I'm having a good rockin' tan from that, but yeah, he's taught so much to me and helped me out. So I was training with him a lot until the gym started opening up again. Then I got back into the gym. I just kept training the way I was training, and I'm just waiting and waiting for a fight because I was praying I was gonna fight for Invicta in September, but they entirely bypassed me and my manager, which kind of sucked. And then I had another fight offer for Valor Fighting Challenge. They're a good promotion and whatnot, but was gonna fight Morgan Hickam, but it was not her fault. Things fell through. It's just some little dealings with the promotion kind of went askew. It was out of my hands. It was certainly out of her hands. And then it just fell through. So I'm like, God damn it, I was eating so great and I don't want to cheat right now. And then my manager got on the phone. He's like, hey, do you want to fight September 25th? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I got abs every time I wake up this morning, so why not, right?
I haven't known that feeling for about 12 years. So you're in a league of your own on this show today. But how did you like it? Did you feel a difference with the extra conditioning once you got back in the gym, or was it still a big adjustment once you started with the jiu-jitsu and striking and stuff? Or you were doing the striking out in the sun?
I was. There's a difference though between hitting pads and working on technique versus dealing with an actual person in front of you, because then it's a little bit more tiring dealing with somebody. But my mind, what was better is my head was there. Like I knew all the things I had to do. It was now more about willing my body to do what I knew what to do. If that makes any sense. It's like I have the blueprints in my brain. Now it's just making my body execute them. But it got to it over time. The first few weeks back, like the first 3 weeks I was like, why am I getting winded like this? This is bullshit. And then I'm like, okay, I got it now.
It's a different kind of cardio for sure. Did you notice anything? Because I know me personally, and I'm not a professional fighter or anything, but I train quite a bit. Once the quarantine started, after a couple of weeks, I was waking up in the morning like, hey, I can walk. I can stand up straight when I get out of bed. Did you notice any like reduction in inflammation or, like little nagging injuries healing up?
It felt so weird. Like I was on one hand kind of happy for it, but then the panic set in. Like, oh my God, I'm not training hard enough. My body's feeling okay. So that's when I started talking to my Muay Thai coach. Like, hey, can we train in the park while this is going on and stuff? Social distancing, and he was all for it. So we did it outside in the park, and at little times in the park we had a bit of an audience, and it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most entertainment anybody has probably seen during the quarantine. You see some people kickboxing in the park. It's like, oh, wow, look, they're doing stuff that's...
Yeah, not just kickboxing. There's times like Marva's put me on these bungee cables that are hooked up to the fence, and he would have me work on body mechanics there. It was really nice. But, I missed my other coaches. I missed all my teammates. Like, I missed the gym. So when it opened up, I was excited. I kind of slowly worked my way into it, kind of like shifty. Like, does anyone have the Rona? Are we safe?
And in a weird way, you almost miss those little aches and pains too, right? Like,
yeah, I did. That's why I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough. But I got great work with my Muay Thai coach. Excellent work with my strength and conditioning coach, because I train out of his backyard the majority of the time. And we live pretty close to each other. Oh yeah, and it's even convenient. Like I could, if I wanted to, I could like walk to his house if I wanted to. So it's really nice.
Yeah, but do you really want to in that desert?
Yeah, actually I do. You're talking to the person who's run outside in the summer in a hoodie.
Oh.
I'm weird, okay?
What is it, like 112 degrees?
Currently, yeah, close to that. So, but that's just who I am. I never claimed to be a sane individual, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to have like a certain amount of instability to do what you do. It's not like a normal thing to want to be locked in a cage with another human being and fight them until somebody pulls you apart.
Exactly. So
there's that.
It's just me.
Yeah, I can relate to a degree. So how many fighters who are fighting currently? UFC has been back for a while. Bellator has been back. How many fighters do you think have been in your situation where they haven't been like actively sparring much or actively grappling, versus how many do you think have just been training the whole time and ignoring like the lockdown and things like that?
I know a lot of people who did circumvent, the little protocols with gyms and stuff, but I'm not a snitch. But I know there was a few, and you know what? Honestly, as long as they're washing up and staying safe and they're making sure their training partners don't have the good for them. Good for them on training. I mean, it sounds a little irresponsible on my part, but unfortunately for our profession, we have to train one way or another. Like I've seen people be training in garages. Like, look at the entire state of New York right now with all their gyms being closed. And you got people from New York who have to fight, who have to train. So they have to do something, right? Or they can't just like, oh, let me just sit around and let everything pass me by. No, they got to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're taking the right protocols, staying in small groups and doing their thing, but working hard and doing their thing, fucking let them. A lot more responsible than some of the other people I've been seeing on Snapchat, just like doing all these crazy ass shit for literally no reason, no productive reason at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a delicate balance, right? Because even myself with running my business, I'm like, all right, if I have less than 10 people in this area, and if everybody's wearing masks, and if we clean this much, like, and you have to like try and like, you still want to keep business running, but you want to follow the rules. And
it's hard.
Yeah, and of course I wouldn't ask you to name names. I just was wondering if you could put a percentage on it. You think like 60% of the fighters active now have been training the way that you are, and 40% have been kind of bending the rules a little bit? Like, would you say that's a fair?
I would say about that. I would say about that because you can even look at Roxy, like when the pandemic hit in February, like everything was closed. Like there was even a story like Roxy put on her blog. She was training behind a bar with one of her teammates, like, doing shadow, like moving around, but it was just one teammate until the police pulled up and like, you two go home. Look at Roxy breaking the law, though. Having her one encounter with a police officer, telling her to stop breaking the rules.
Could you imagine?
I'm only saying that because she outed herself.
Yeah. Could you imagine that police officer? You're probably thinking like, oh man, this is like a trained fighter right here. And then you find out it's the nicest trained killer that you could ever run into. And she was probably so apologetic.
She was. Just knowing her, she was. But yeah, that was funny when she was talking about that on her blog. I'm like, Roxy, you're gonna cause so much trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's been quite the time of innovation for fighters during all this. I mean, we still see fighters like training in masks and stuff, almost looking like Mortal Kombat right now.
Yeah.
Trying to follow the rules. Bless them. I was in a mask for certain reasons for a while training. I'm like, oh, so this is why waterboarding is legal. This is horrible. Because when the mask gets soaked and you're breathing and it's all up in your face, you're like,
yeah,
trying to breathe for dear life, and it's awful.
Yeah, it's not fun. I've felt similar where I've been in situations where I have to wear the mask outside here in Florida where it's like so humid outside and it's just like wet as soon as you walk out the door. And you almost feel like it's counterproductive, but you know, we got to do it.
Yeah, it's one thing if I'm outside doing normal chores, but when I'm exercising in it, god awful. 10 out of 10, don't recommend.
Gross. And of course, you were referencing your teammate and one of your best friends, Roxanne Modafferi, who's fighting this coming Saturday, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But before we do that, let's talk about the MMA action that we saw last night. It was a nice short card. I know a lot of people were complaining about it, but for people like myself, it did deliver.
It was short, sweet. It delivered, and we could all go to bed on time. I guess I'm getting old. My 28-year-old ass is getting old because that was all right. It was a nice condensed card.
Yeah.
I mean, we got short notice fighters who stepped up and put on a show, shocking everybody. We got old lions proving that they can still handle the most dangerous aquarium workers in the world. You know, it was a great card. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was perfect. I wouldn't mind if every single one of them was 7 fights long. I was like, it's 9:30 at night. We're on the co-main event. This is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Versus like back on the East Coast, like 12 midnight.
That's usually what it is. And then whenever I see
I remember those days
with the cards with like 3 title fights, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking 2:00 in the morning. And and we have a ton of listeners
praying for an early finish. Yeah, I know.
We have a ton of listeners like in Australia and Europe and stuff, and they're always telling me to just shut the fuck up, but because they're up at like 5 in the morning to watch these things.
They're a dedicated bunch. Yeah, they're a dedicated bunch.
Bless their hearts. They're drinking. I don't want to say I have influence over that, but I may have something to do with it.
I see what you said there.
We may have a little cult of over the top, under the influenced podcast listeners here. And here's one of them right now, Mark Fellows in Australia. And yeah, you have listeners
I love
in Australia.
Australians. Like, I swear the Australians have adopted me. They have sent me Vegemite. They have sent me Tim Tams. I've talked to them about budding sausage sizzles. Like, I love Australia. They've adopted me, and just I've had a lot of Australian fans follow me ever since my amateur career cheering on for me. So, you know what? I fucking love Australia.
I do too. It's on my bucket list to get out there, but just at this point in my life, I can't imagine a 20-hour flight with a 2-year-old. So we're gonna put that.
I was about to tell you to shut the fuck up until you said 2-year-old, because my first flight was to Thailand, and that was like a 27-hour flight, and I made it. That was my first flight ever.
Oh, I don't mind traveling at all. If it's me by myself, my old job, I used to go all over the world. And I loved it. I love traveling, but it's a different story with a toddler.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of four. Trust me, traveling anywhere with toddlers is fucking nasty.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. I was
Being
talking
the
to
being the oldest is the finest form of birth control. It's just like after you go through seeing all your siblings grow up and having to help your parents deal with like your siblings as like toddlers and stuff. You don't want to deal with kids ever again, except like for me with teaching kids. That's as far as I go because I fucking love them. It's like being a grandma. It's like you have them for a little bit. They're like, bye, kids, go back home to your parents. I'll see you next
yeah,
time, but
except
not in my house.
the grandparents pump them full of sugar before they give them back.
I know, but at least with me, I just wear them out with Coach with Roxanne.
Yeah,
We just wear them out and then bam, send them home.
that's the opposite of what the grandparents do. The grandparents get them all hyper, and then they're like, "All right, take them back." And then it's some kind of sick revenge for like how you were as a kid, I guess. I don't know. I didn't think I was a
Probably.
bad kid, but with the way my parents sugar up my child and then give her back to me, I would think I did something terrible as
Excellent.
a child. In any case, let's talk about the main event here. Alistair Overeem getting, I would call it a come from behind win. Fifth round stoppage.
I was kind of getting mad how people were overlooking Overeem because they were thinking, oh, Overeem's old. He can't adjust to being off the horse feed, et cetera, et cetera. But experience is a huge factor. We've seen this with Roxy beating the piss out of Macy Barber. We've seen this when the old lions come back and take out the young lions thinking they're hot shit. I mean, Augusto Saki is no slouch. Like, he's been knocking out people or having TKO stoppages left and right before he even got into the UFC, and fighting really tough, split decisions. So that guy had no quit in him, but experience was a key factor. But those elbows from Overeem on the ground, oh my God, that could end the life of an average man. Jesus Christ. When I saw him rip those down, I'm like, oh my Lord.
And even the short ones when he was just bracing and then dropping the elbow to replace his hand, you can't see those coming. I thought that was pretty interesting. I hadn't really seen ground and pound like that for a while.
I try to do something like that. I'm going to try to hopefully do it again. That elbow where he got Augusto and made his head bounce off the mat that one time, I'm like, oh shit. I was just like, okay.
It reminded me of Bas Rutten used to do something like that back in Pancrase when you can only have open hand strikes. He would press his hand into your chest to get the pressure and then drive it up to the nose. It kind of reminded me of something like that because you're putting pressure somewhere and then all of a sudden you're getting hit.
Yeah, you just freeze, bam. I know. I loved it. And man, you're talking Pancrase. Where's my goddamn pacifier now? I was just like a youngin when that was happening.
That's true. You probably you might have been in diapers when Pancrase was out.
Probably. But I got to watch it and I enjoyed it.
How were you scoring this fight going into the fifth round? Did you have it even? Did you have Sakai up? What did you think was going on there? Yeah. I
had it even because there's times Saki was landing heavier strikes, but I would see Overeem land a little bit more, I'll bet lighter. And then of course the takedowns, the cage work, it was all for the most part working in Overeem's favor.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not just striking, because if this was just striking, we'd be watching kickboxing or something,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
For better or for worse, cage control and shit like that matters.
Yeah. And then I think I saw some unfair criticism of Sakai and his people were like, he needs to learn to wrestle. But those were some unorthodox takedowns that Overeem was doing where he would get in on the single and then do a sweep where he rolled to the back. That's kind of hard to see coming because if you're pushing your hips in to defend a single and then you get pulled the other way, you're off balance there. So that's not something that a lot of people would expect, especially if you're fighting Alistair Overeem, who has underrated grappling, but he's known as a striker.
Champion kickboxer, all that stuff. So you think is going to stand and bang, but mixed martial arts, you're going to have to expect a takedown somewhere. But yeah, it's okay. I've seen stupid shit. I saw somebody think that the Sakai that was fighting that fight was Gohan Saki or Gokhan Saki. I'm like, what the hell? So you know what? There was like some ignorance all over the Twitter feed. I just kind of was like, lately, this is why I've been so jaded with MMA Twitter. Like, I still love MMA Twitter, but there are some dumb fucks out there just
Yeah.
really making themselves known.
Yeah, there's a lot of ignorance, but people have fun with it in their own way. I used to get mad about it, but now I feel like, I have an opportunity to educate people, and we welcome the casual fans as listeners to the show as well as the hardcore fans.
I do. I love them. They make me feel better sometimes, but yeah.
Did you think it was a good stoppage?
Okay. I think it was. There was no defense. This, in the words of Marvin Eastman, is timidity. There is no intelligent defense in just doing this and covering up without a plan, there was not as much hip explosion. There was not different ways trying to get out of it. So when you stop and you just start doing what I call the Homer Simpson defense, that's why I call it Homer Simpson. You're gonna get the fight stopped, whether you like it or not. You have to do something.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I thought it was a good stoppage, especially because of the sound of the elbows we're making. I don't know if it's because of the empty arena or if they were just, and it was the thud. And usually, like, when you hear the loud slapping noise, those don't hurt as much. But when it's a thud and it's just like bone on bone, that's like, oh, that can't feel good. And especially considering the fact that he could barely get back to his stool after the fourth round. I thought maybe he wasn't even going to come out for the fifth. So I'm sure Herb Dean picked up on that as well. And that probably played into the stoppage. I think it was fine. Did you catch Derek Lewis trolling Overeem on Twitter during the fight where he was saying he scored every round 10-7 for Sakai?
Yeah. Derek Lewis is definitely beyond some. I like that trolling. I don't like Derek Lewis spitting people's food, but I like that other trolling he's doing. That's totally okay.
So do you think that fight makes sense now? Just put Overeem and Derek Lewis together, since I would imagine.
Why the fuck not? Because you know what happens? If Overeem takes down Derek Lewis just get up, right? He'll just stand up.
Yeah, it could, or maybe Overeem wouldn't want to take down Derek Lewis. I think I'd be interested to see how that one would play out. And especially since there's a little bit of heat there, they haven't fought before. The only other fight that I think makes sense, because I don't think they're going to put Overeem in there with Stipe right now. The only other fight that would make sense is a rematch with Rosenstrike.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and I would imagine that Stipe is going to fight, I don't know, with John Jones supposedly moving up to heavyweight. You've got Ngannou.
Supposedly.
Yeah. I mean, there's talk about John Jones versus Ngannou for a non-title fight. I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on with this heavyweight division.
Lesnar somehow in the mix. I'm like, what? Slow down. Everybody slow down. I need to figure this out. We need to figure this out.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. It's an exciting time for heavyweight.
Could the UFC break grounds and make a 2-on-2 fight, like a tag team fight in the cage? That'd be with the heavyweights. That'd be fucking cool.
So who are the tag teams? Let's make it right now.
Look. If we had Stipe and we had Ngannou on one team, and we got Brock Lesnar, and we got just all of it going on like that, just 2-on-2. Can you imagine the insanity? I mean, shit, if Eastern European nations can make a 2-on-2 MMA fight happen, I mean, why not? We already made a bad motherfucker belt. Let's just make this over the top and ridiculous. Let's bring some eyes.
Yeah, I'm all for it. So big win for Overeem. He's 40 years old, but that's still a spring chicken in the heavyweight
killing
division.
It.
And he's close to 100 fights now in his career, combined K1 and MMA. So
K1, Pride, all of it. Just
there's very little.
Seen him all young, and it was great.
There's very little he hasn't done, but he wants one more run at that UFC title. What kind of odds do you give him to achieve that UFC championship that he's chasing?
It's a tall order, but I mean, anything is possible. I mean, Stipe is a bad motherfucker, the way how he handled an Olympic wrestler and just to take him out. Now he's 2 for 1 against DC, and DC's out of the picture. I mean, it's something, you know?
Meanwhile, our buddy Mark from Australia has figured out why Serena has lots of Aussie fans. You swear like they do, and the rhyming nickname helps.
Love it.
So swearing and a rhyming nickname, that's the key to having lots of Australian fans. Co-main event here, Ovince St. Preux getting it done against Alonzo Menifield. Menifield was a favorite coming into this one, but again, we saw experience. Experience was the theme of the card here. Exactly. Ovince St. Preux, we talk about on the show a lot. He's one of these guys that's, you know, very hot and cold. You never really know what you're going to see from him, but I thought he had a great game plan. The way he throws that left hand, a fellow southpaw, he throws that straight left like a jab. He almost leans forward with it. It was super effective, and then that left hand was what ended the night for Alonzo Menifield, putting him unconscious with that counter hook.
The button.
Give me your thoughts on OSP here.
You're pretty much on. Like, he's hot and cold, but I'm thinking, are we gonna see a Von, OSP Von Flu choke again? Are we gonna see that? But no, he's improved his hands. And let me tell you, from a southpaw fighting another southpaw, I kind of hate it. I'm getting used to it because Nico Montano is one of my teammates in Syndicate. I'm getting used to fighting other southpaws, but he made it work. But yeah, it was fast how he fired his cross-up, but the lean is important. I've been learning this with Marvin Eastman. You can lean with your jab, but you can also lean just a little bit, but still be on balance if you know your body mechanics right. And I've been working on that. And it gives extra power. Not only does it give you speed, but it does give you extra power. You know, some people in the gym have been unwilling and unwitting targets of that. I've had some teammates say, I'm really happy you're wearing the Japanese puffy MMA gloves, because if that was a regular glove, I probably would have fell to the floor. Yeah. And I'm like, eee. So that was just beautiful game planning all around. Like, body mechanics, as you said, experience matters. And it was fast. Which, again, I'm happy for because early bedtime. I can't stay up late because then I want to eat everything. That's tough to do on a 1,400 calorie diet. I like how he's going to the body early. I feel like Devin Clark kind of laid the blueprint for how to beat Alonzo Menifield. I was saying last week that if it goes past a round and a half, it's not going to look good for Alonzo, and that was, pretty much when it started to fall apart for him. But those body kicks from OSP in the beginning too, he was just slapping them in there, and wasn't letting Alonzo close the distance, because Alonzo's a thick guy for 205, but he doesn't have like that crazy reach to get in there with his power. So like you said, great game plan from OSP, and the guy is just so impressive. Like he's just like a freak athlete. Like you could probably put him in any sport, like put him on a volleyball court and the guy will figure out like how to spike a ball in your face. I just feel like he's just one of those guys that just picks things up. He really is. And just seeing that, just how he's improved. Yeah. Cause I remember he had that little losing skid. I'm like, is he going to be all right? I really like this guy. I hope he improves. Bam, improves. And just keeps on rolling with it. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when he fought for the title, and then he went on a little downward spiral after that, he thought like, and then he moved up to heavyweight, like, oh man, what's he gonna do against Ben Rothwell? And then he went the distance with him. One of the bigger heavyweights he could choose to get in there with. So a lot of respect for that guy. It kind of like, I want to say it was like the sideshow fight of the night, Michel Pereira and Zelim Imadaev.
But it was though. This dude saying, I'm sparring, I'm like training with cows, and he like slapped the motherfucker and blew him a kiss. I'm like, yo, that is the coldest shit I've ever seen. Like, you just just like handed your opponent and blew him a kiss. I'm like, if that is the most disrespectful but hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what else is.
Yeah. And I mean, the guy's very unorthodox, and we've seen
understatement of the century.
His losses, he had the disqualification against Diego Sanchez, but he was largely winning that fight. He was, it it wasn't as one-sided as the Imadaev fight, where last night I was saying Imadaev landed more strikes at the weigh-in than he did in the actual fight. It was not looking good.
I feel so bad for Imadaev. Like Imadaev like had his undefeated record taken out by someone who just pulled that shit on him. It's just like, damn.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing. I feel horrible for laughing, but that is a shitty way for your O to go.
Well, it was actually his third loss in the UFC.
Oh.
So he was undefeated coming.
The other one.
Yeah. I get these guys confused too. This is why I have another screen here with
Nice.
my cheat sheet.
I don't have that cheat sheet. I just rely on what I remembered last night.
Well, in your defense, you did sign on to do this, with like 30 seconds before we went live. So you get a pass. If I get it wrong, people are going to be like, he has the answers right in front of him. We know this. And then I get ripped
like,
apart.
boo.
Yeah. Yeah. So he came into the UFC, Max Griffin, Danny Roberts, Michel Pereira. So it's not like he had, the easiest schedule coming in, but
yeah.
What did you think about the amount he was getting touched up in this fight versus the offense he was putting out? I mean, we didn't even see him really try to go for a takedown or anything.
It was weird. It's like he didn't move as much as I would anticipate someone to move, being touched up and being put in that much danger, or at least be a little bit more non-linear. But it seemed like he was almost like one of those old school characters in Street Fighter, something where it's 2 years back, forth, maybe a little bit of a turn here and again. But I'm like, is this a 1990s arcade fighting game, or is this a fight? Like, what is going on here?
I would love if somebody out there on the internet would take clips from this fight and put some old school arcade music to it. And I have a feeling just putting that out there,
we're
gonna see it happen. We're gonna see like a Mortal Kombat or like Street Fighter music. I feel like would be good because they had like the crazy flip kicks in Street Fighter. So maybe we'll see that.
No. Tekken did too. Did we not forget? Did we forget martial law and like
that's true.
King and shit? Like, come on.
Yeah. Tekken had those crazy kick flips too. Those flipping upside down. But this fight had a weird ending
Pressing
too.
Kicks is the term you're looking for.
You're right. That's why I asked you on the show, because you're the professional. I'm just the guy who drinks whiskey and pretends I know what I'm talking about.
Professional fighter, professional Tekken player, I guess. Only not online though. Definitely, I suck online though.
Yeah, I'm a professional whiskey drinker. That's the only claim I can make.
Hey.
So this fight had kind of a weird ending where Pereira put the choke in, and Imadaev kind of reached his hand in. The commentator said he was fighting the hands, but the referee stopped the fight. I don't know if it was so much from the choke or if he just was using that as an excuse to save Imadaev from taking any more strikes. But then again, there was only 20 seconds left. Like, why not let him finish? It was a strange ending, but at the same time, I was like, this guy had enough. We already know, like, if it goes to a decision, we know.
I could see both. Like, as a fighter, I'm like, let me fight to the literal end of it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I could see like it being a mercy stoppage of sorts. Like, you didn't do much work. You've been getting your ass whooped all over the place, and then that happened. But as a fighter, I would prefer and I would encourage it to go, even if there's in the last 20 seconds of the fight, just let it go. Let us see where it goes, because you never know.
Yeah.
So and you open yourself up to criticism if you end it early. Like, and you don't want to put up with that bullshit where someone's like, "Oh, the ref robbed me of the 20 seconds," because then other people are going to start building up on it, and then it's unnecessary hassle you got to put up with. So just, but it was weird.
It's kind of insult to injury for Imadaev, because he doesn't even get like to have, I guess, save a little dignity to get the decision loss. It goes down as a submission. So it sucks for him, but at the same time, when it happened, I was like, yeah, this fight's done though. Like, I've seen enough of it. We know how it was going to end, and that's good. All right. So I'm going to breeze over the rest of the card, and you tell me who impressed you the most? So we got Andre Muniz getting the armbar finish over Bartosz Fabinski. Brian Kelleher with the really quick guillotine over Ray Rodriguez.
That was really fucking impressive. And I was really excited for that because that was a short notice opponent change for him too. And he still got the job done. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, what was it, 36 seconds or something? Like
39 seconds.
When he got
That's
it?
pretty good memory.
39. Yeah. Okay, somewhere. Yeah. So he got it like around there and he got it done fast. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. Because I bet he had an entirely different game plan for an opponent. But in the fight world, as you keep saying, game plans will always go out the window. You got to rely on what you have.
Yeah.
So good on him. I loved it.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Yeah. That's a very famous Mike Tyson quote, and apparently we're going to see Mike Tyson in the ring pretty soon.
That'll be interesting.
I mean, everybody's talking about it, so it's going to be a spectacle. I
will smoke one of his blunts he has in Vegas in his honor after my fight.
Oh, is that a thing? Like you can go into
he has his own. Yeah, he has his own weed brand, and they're at certain dispensaries here in Las Vegas. So I will smoke one in his honor.
Yeah, so. we don't have anything like that around here, so I didn't know there was like branded stuff. Like, hey, I'm not the governor. I'm not in charge of this stuff. I've only been in a dispensary one time in my life when I went to Colorado a couple of years ago. But I always thought it was like they had their own stuff. I didn't know that there was like branded joints and things.
Yeah,
like that.
Like some like music artists have their own branded weed. Like Billy Nelson's got his own branded weed, which I've had. It's good stuff. Mike Tyson has his own like line of weed. My favorite rap group, Run the Jewels, has their own like line of like pre-rolls. So cool. I'll make a trip to Cali just for that.
I'm actually really interested in this now because like obviously I'm really into alcohol, and there's a bunch of celebrities who put their name on alcohol, and there's very few of them that I would recommend, but then like some of them are really good. But a lot of times it's like they have nothing to do with the alcohol. They're just, they're putting their name on it to help sell it.
Face and shit. Yeah, exactly.
It's usually crap. But sometimes it's good. Like George Clooney's tequila is really good. I've had the Rocks tequila. That one's good. I think I have an empty.
You should make a list of that on your IG. It's like celebrity out booze that is good.
Yeah,
make it a thing on your IG stories.
That's And then there are some I would leave off, but I don't talk about things I don't like on here because we like to keep it positive. So Brian Kelleher, definitely the bottom half of this card, definitely the most impressive performance. But then Viviane Araujo and getting the unanimous decision over Montana De La Rosa, pretty one-sided.
Yeah, it was pretty one-sided, but I think De La Rosa can grow from this. I mean, the flyweight division is still relatively young. So, I mean, she's been cool with me because she's, she was with my friend Roxanne on that Ultimate Fighter house. That's, I hope she grows, but.
Which one was that? Because wasn't Roxanne on two of them?
The one with the flyweight division being made, like the one where she fought Nico for the belt because Sarge fell off for weight, whatever.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that one. No, I bet it doesn't.
Hunter Azure looked really good. Unanimous decision over Cole Smith. And that, 7 fights, but we were able to get a lot of analysis out of this. Any other kind of encompassing thoughts on Fight Night 176, or should we move on?
We should move on because, like I said, it was just brilliant fights, just concentrated. It wasn't like a huge thing. It was just all sweet and simple to the point.
I loved it. I hope we're seeing like the new norm from this.
Same here, especially with the smaller cage. I hope the smaller cage stays as well because it's just like gives it doesn't give too much breathing room and it just forces everybody to just get in there and fight. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was shorter. It'd be like the cage that I was in when I was an amateur for Tough Enough, which was it's like 2 steps backwards. You're already on the cage, and it's perfect.
Yeah, like fighting in a phone booth, as they say.
Exactly.
So this next this upcoming card, we're not going to give any picks because I never give picks, and there's going to be a lot of bias here because you have a teammate fighting, I have two teammates fighting. So don't put your hard-earned money on the line based on what Serena and I say breaking down this card.
I'm just gonna root for my friend as I always do, and then sound like I smoke 6 packs of cigarettes the day after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that, even though I'm not in the crowd or I'm not able to go, I'm still gonna scream like a nutcase, you know.
Yeah.
I'll just have to have the tequila in my hand at home, because the last live event I was at where I was losing my entire shit for Roxanne was at the card where McGregor was fighting Cowboy when she was fighting Macy Barber. I was like, 4 tequila shots deep, yelling like a banshee.
I like it.
And it was so funny because all the Irish fans are in front of me. They're seeing me lose my collective shit, and then I see the camera on me. I'm like, follow me, it's Serena Southpaw, because you know what? That's marketing.
It is.
They're seeing you lose your mind for your best friend, and you're just like, follow me, it's Serena Southpaw for more of my insanity. You know.
I am proud of you for your marketing prowess as well as for your tolerance of tequila.
Oh man, don't even get me started. My brother, before I had this fight confirmed, I had my brother makes good drink mixes, and he did something with 6 whiskey shots in it, and I just drank it. He's like, dude, you're gonna throw up. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I didn't. And he's like, what are you? I'm like, I'm an adult. I don't throw up whiskey.
The fucking Southpaw Outlaw. That's him. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I got sick from drinking, and I consume quite a bit of booze, probably more than I rightfully should, especially during the quarantine.
Just don't tell your doctor, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a physical in March, and everything checked out. The liver numbers were okay, but there was a lot of quarantine since then as well. So I don't know
exactly. We're in month 6.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're in month 6 of it, I think. Yeah, month 6. Holy shit, this year.
I lost track, but I'm gonna pour myself a drink here before we talk about this card. So
get it.
Fight Night 177. Since you're in fight camp, I feel like I have to drink for the two of us.
Please do. I will live vicariously through you.
I'm doing the gentlemanly thing here.
Exactly.
You know
what? I approve.
I'm picking up the slack, Fight Night 177, Michelle Waterson, Angela Hill. Let's start at the top here. So 2 top contenders here. Michelle Waterson has had a rough go of it lately. But some hard fought fights. And Angela Hill has been fighting on every other fight card. And
she's literally turning into the female cowboy star. Like, yeah, I'll fight this girl. Who is she? I'm like, God damn, she's a little gangster. I love her.
Yeah.
And her love of video games also makes me love her even more.
And it seems like she fights so often, but she's only got 20 MMA fights. And I'm like, how does she only have 20? She fights every other fucking week. Like, how does this math work?
This girl, I forget, I think it was her mid-20s or something, or 24 or something. She took her first Muay Thai class ever. Uh-huh. And then she's gotten her way into the UFC. Like, I can't state how impressive that is. I've been training since I was 18. So 10 years later, being 28 years old, it's insane. And yeah, she fought a lot in Invicta. She's now fighting a lot in the UFC, but she's making a tear, and I love it.
Yeah,
I do love watching her stuff on Twitch. So she's doing good on that department as well.
Some people are able to pick up the skills later in life. Like, common knowledge says that like the earlier you start, the better you're going to be later in life. But then there's also the wear and tear you take. It's not like playing baseball or something where, if you've been playing since you were 4, you're going to be better at 20 than anyone at 20 is picking up a baseball bat. But
my shoulder can attest to that.
Mine too, both of them, as well as my neck and spine and knees and and anything else that can break on a human body. So, there's the 2 schools of thought on that. So both of these ladies coming off of losses headlining a card, which I think says a lot about women's MMA, because if you can have 2 women who are popular enough to headline a card and they're both coming off of losses, I'd say that's a big step up. I think that's
agreed. And they were not like wishy-washy kind of bullshit losses. They were losses in tight fights against top-ranked people. And no one anticipated the Rona taking out the main event, but this is kind of nice to see, though. And I'm really for it. I mean, I love Waterson. I love Hill, but the tenacity of Hill makes me want to root for her and pick her for this fight because she gets at it.
That's kind of how it is with Michelle Waterson, because she's like so nice and bubbly, and she doesn't really fight with that aggression. She has more of the karate style, but we know she can deal with the aggression because she's been in there with Joanna on Jacek. I was there live for that fight. I thought it was awesome. I mean, she clearly lost, but she really showed her toughness in that fight. You know, went 5 rounds with the former champ. So there's that. And then Angela Hill. Angela Hill's coming off that close decision loss to Claudia Gadelha. A lot of people thought Angela won that fight.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought it was really close. I went. That was one of those ones I had to go back and watch it a couple of times, and you know, I understand how judges could have given it to either fighter, and you know, it went to Claudia by 2 out of 3 judges. So I didn't think it was like a robbery, but I thought Angela definitely could have gotten that decision. So
right,
this is a fun fight. This is a fun fight because, you know, Michelle Waterson is a very creative counter striker, and Angela Hill, you know, just puts that pressure on, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Exciting co-main event: Kama Worthy and Ottoman Azaitar. I'm usually better with the name.
Don't look at me. I can't help you with this. I don't have a separate screen.
If you don't know it, I feel better about it. So these are 2 exciting fighters. Azaitar is undefeated, and Kama Worthy, of course, we've seen put on some exciting fights in the UFC. Any thoughts on this co-main event?
I don't have too many thoughts, but I want to see Worthy continue his tear upward and onward.
Yeah, so Kama Worthy has definitely made a splash in the UFC because he just submitted Luis Pena. He knocked out Devontae Smith, and those are his only 2 fights in the UFC. You know, he had some losses years and years ago.
I'm sad he had to fight Flying Knee Senpai, which is more or less my nickname for Luis Pena.
Oh, you don't go with Violent Bob Ross?
I love Violent Bob Ross. He's the coolest. He loves anime just like me and Roxy does. He does exciting fights. He does flying knees. Free my homie. He did not deserve to be suspended from the Nevada State Athletic Commission for something as stupid as a plan. Meanwhile, someone could walk out to their fight drinking whiskey, and that's totally okay, and that is legal in and out of competition.
That would probably be
what me. Is that? I encourage it. That'd be like amazing. You know what we should do? We should have like an MMA broadcast, like an MMA Twitter like broadcaster like kind of fight club, and just like have all you guys like go at it like for charity or something like that, and like have it broadcasted somehow. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I've offered to do some charity like a grappling match or something against other broadcasters, and haven't had anybody take me up on it yet. So I would.
You have to do the traditional route then. You got to call them pussies. Be like, hey, we're doing this for charity. Are you saying you're too scared for charity? Come on now. You got to get the trash talk game going here.
Yeah. It's not my thing. I'm not. But hey, if somebody sets it up, I'll be there. I don't even care what the charity is, as long as it's a charity, as long as it's going to a good cause.
We're gonna pay homage to Kimbo Slice and set up some crazy shit in the backyard somewhere.
I'm all for it. I'll be there. And hey, that took place in Miami, so maybe in a couple of weeks I'll find myself in Miami, and let's piggyback off of your fight, and we'll set up one of these events here.
Let's do it.
All right, I think we just made a plan. I mean, I haven't trained in like 6 months, but it's for charity, right?
Zoom classes work. I did a few, and they're all right. And that and copious amounts of prison workouts, like push-ups and sit-ups and shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much that, and chasing a toddler around the house. That's all it's been.
That's pretty good cardio.
Let's go to where I know you're going to have a biased opinion, but it's okay because this is your training partner, Roxanne Modafferi, taking on Andrea Lee.
Yeah.
This is a fun.
Yeah, Andrea Lee is still the homie, though. I still love Andrea Lee. I lived with her for 3 weeks, was part of her fight camp once. She was still an Invictus. She's super sweet, super nice. But this is unfortunately, like, I ride or die for my homies who train with me and work with me. So I'm kind of stuck in that position. Like, well, how my friends fighting each other, you know?
Yeah.
But Roxy's been looking great. She's made a lot of improvements over her last fight against Lauren Murphy. So I'm feeling really confident about her in this fight.
That's good.
Andrea Lee is definitely no slouch. Everybody needs to remember she's Golden Gloves. Yeah, and she's good with her jiu-jitsu. She's been subbing people. She's not, Andrea Lee's not just a Muay Thai fighter. You know, if this was anybody else, I'd wear my I hope both teams have fun shirt, but I'm all with Roxy for this.
Yeah, for sure. And who could blame you for that? And, as much as I want to preserve my journalistic integrity, I have to be with you because you're one of my better friends in this business, and she's your best friend. So I have to.
By proxy.
I have to support Roxanne 100%. As well. Even though I am a fan of Andrea Lee and the way she fights, and I think she has phenomenal hands, I think it's going to be a fun fight. That's the most important thing.
Hands and shins and all sorts of shit will fly.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I mean, Roxanne never puts on a disappointing fight, and Andrea Lee doesn't either. And she's coming off of 2 losses, so I imagine she's going to be hungry in there. It'll make for a good show. Ed Herman and Mike Rodriguez. Any thoughts?
Not really. I need to rewatch their fights to get a better opinion. I mean, all I know is the main card, and I don't think they've released any information about the prelims so far for this fight.
They have, and I have it here, and I only know this because, like I said, 2 of my teammates are fighting on this card.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, Ed Herman's coming off of back-to-back wins, but he hasn't fought since November. He was supposed to fight Gerald Mearshart, but Gerald tested positive.
Then the Rona.
Yep. It's just been that elephant in the room that's been ruining everything.
It's so crazy because we've been dealing, local gyms in town have been dealing with Rona and seeing other people with Rona. It's shocking how many are asymptomatic carriers of that nonsense. Like, you can be perfectly healthy and bam, Rona. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. And one of those asymptomatic carriers has been my teammate, Billy Quarantillo, who is fighting Kyle Nelson on the main card. Kyle's out of Canada.
Nothing to sneeze at.
He is.
He's good.
He's very good. He is relentless. He puts a pace on guys that just breaks them.
He's like the fucking Terminator. It's like you hit him with shit, but he keeps chasing you, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, why does this guy not die already?"
The pace that Billy's able to fight with and break down high level fighters, it is really a spectacle. And I'm not just saying that because he's my friend and he's a friend of the show, and I've trained with him. Like I have really been in awe of the pace this guy is able to fight at and grapple at as well. He just got his black belt in January under Matt Arroyo. He's super legit on the ground, but he loves to stand and bang.
Yeah, obviously, looking at his record, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off of his fight against Spike Carlisle, which is one of the best fights of the year, in my opinion, and it didn't even get a fight of the night bonus for some reason, because so one of the other fighters was saying he wanted to quit his job, and then he got I forget who it was, but he was like, I really want to quit my job, I need a bonus, and then they gave it to him, which is really unusual. They usually don't do that. But
I want to quit all the odd jobs and shit I'm doing too. No one's gonna give me my ass a bonus even if I fight hard.
I mean, so do I.
Awkward.
Yeah, I want to quit my job. I mean, can somebody give me a bonus so that I can have somebody watch my toddler? How about that? Does that work? Can I put that out in the universe? Yeah, but
right.
obviously I'm with Billy on this fight. Kyle's coming off of a TKO against Marco Polo Reyes. And he's a very well-rounded fighter. He's got almost as many submission wins as he does knockout wins. Really tough guy. This is going to be a phenomenal fight. Anytime Billy Quarantillo gets in the cage, it's going to be a show. So
look like them old school Looney Tune cartoons where you see that puff of smoke and anchors and shit are flying out. Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And that's what you can expect from my other teammate, Matt the Steamroller Frivola, who's going to be taking on Roosevelt Roberts.
Nice.
Yeah, so Matt originally started training down here in Tampa, and then he moved up to train with the Serra Longo team. And he did his last 2 camps back down here in Tampa because, like you said, everything's on lockdown in New York. He was able to get some training in down here. So Roosevelt Roberts coming off that loss to Jim Miller. Before that, he was looking smoking hot coming out of the Dana White's Contender Series. He's been calling out Matt Frivola for a while now because Frivola beat up a couple of his teammates. So at first, Matt was like, "You're coming off a loss. I'm coming off a win. This doesn't make sense." But I guess Roosevelt Roberts kept, asking for it and
pushing buttons.
To him, I would say, be careful what you wish for, because Frivola is a very stoic, very serious guy. He's got a great sense of humor and everything, but he's not going to get rattled by trash talk or anything like that. He's the type of guy who's grabbing his lunchbox and he's going in there to go to work, no matter who's standing in front of him. So, but that's going to be a great fight because, I'm a fan of the way Roosevelt Roberts fights as well. He puts on exciting fights. I know Matt Frivola puts on exciting fights. So that's going to be a fun one. Do you have any thoughts on this matchup?
No, but I'm really excited for this one. I mean, I've seen what you're talking about. Even his stare downs, it looks like Frivola's like staring into your soul. Just dead ass, just looking at it, just like, I'm gonna kick at your ass. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, because I've seen the goofy side of him in videos and stuff before. Like, because I have I have friends who are friends with him. Mm-hmm. And how he does the total ass 180, it's like, oh, shit, okay. He's dialed and ready to go.
The last time he was on the podcast, we did the interview inside the cage at Gracie Tampa South, and we were sitting on the floor of the cage. And there was one moment in the interview where I was like, I'm locked in here with this guy. And then because he got real serious talking about something, I was like, who's going to help me out? The only person that was nearby was his dad. I'm like, all he's going to do is block the cage door and stop me from getting out. But yeah, I love Matt. He's a great guy. And Billy is too. Those are 2 guys, like, if you know them personally, you can't help but root for them, not just in the cage, but in life. I wish nothing but success for those guys. Even though I'm fans of the guys they're fighting as well. Bobby Green, quick turnaround. I feel like he was just in there as well. But he's looking to buy a house, so he's got to get in there and stay active. He's getting in there against Alan Patrick Silva Alves. I'm just going to breeze over the rest of the card. I'm going to go over the rest of the card, and you tell me what stands out to you, Serena. Matt Schnell versus Tyson Nam. Frank Camacho versus Brock Weaver. Brian Barberena versus Anthony Ivy. And Sabina Mazo versus Justine Kish. What do we got?
They're interesting. I don't know. I would have to wait and see for some of these. Like, there's a few names that maybe go like, shake my head at it, nod my head at it. But
yeah,
I mean, we're all just gonna have to wait and see, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, Camacho.
What's really bad? I live 15 minutes from the Apex, and I can't even get into it right now with all this bullshit. You know how fucking hard it is to like not be tempted, just drive by a little bit, like, let me see what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I have several gyms in the area that are open, but I just haven't I've been busy and I've gotten into a routine with other things, and I'm like, I want to get back in there, but I don't know if it's time yet. And yeah, so I'm with you.
I miss seeing a live show. I really do. I think a lot of people share this sentiment with me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one thing that's like starting to come back. They're starting to do like drive-in concerts and stuff, which is weird, but I don't know.
Whatever works. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hate on it.
People will find a way. All right.
It's a life finds a way. First off, come on, we all watched Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was going for like a half-assed Jeff Goldblum reference there because I didn't.
No. We can't go half-assed. It's either all in or just not at all when it comes to Jeff Goldblum. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like I used to have a decent Goldblum. Life finds a way, and then that's it. That's all.
No, this stop.
I've been watching those movies quite a bit since they've been on Netflix. Oh, and speaking of Netflix, I don't know if you're into this or not, but I started watching Kobra Kai. I've
been told to watch it. I'm going to start it because I had to finish one series out of the 5,000 I still need to fucking finish on this app.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch that.
I mean, since you're only eating 1,400 calories a day, you got a lot of other, you got a lot of free time where you're not eating. So you got to distract yourself.
No, I don't. I wish I did.
All right. Well, after your fight, then when the training's done, get into Kobra Kai.
When I can drink all the beer and I can have all the food I want. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
It always is. And then there's a Wingstop that opened nearby, and they have like this $20 combo meal. Man, I'm going to be so happy.
There we go. But
priorities.
Kobra Kai, and I've been getting a lot of shit from people like, "Hey, it's been out on YouTube for like 2 years." Like, yeah, but I'm not paying for YouTube.
Guess what? We're not paying for YouTube Premium, all right? So leave us alone. Don't we have enough?
Actually, I think I do pay for it because of my daughter, but I thought it was going to be stupid. And it kind of is, but like in the most 80s nostalgia, wonderful way, if that makes sense. Like it's silly, but it's amazing. And I recommend everybody watch Kobra Kai. And you also should do what I did. I watched like a couple of episodes and then I realized there's a lot of references I'm not getting here. So I went back and rewatched the original Karate Kid.
Oh God! Now you're going to give me more shit to watch again. What are you doing to me, Bill?
Did you expect to come on here and leave without homework assignments, Serena? You know how this works. You've been on this show what?
Yes, I did.
Half a dozen times now.
I'm the fucking Reen. You can't make me do homework.
That's true, but I can plant the seeds of ideas that I know you're going to want to do, and then they'll flourish into.
We'll see what happens when I'm in that bath, like that salt bath dying, cutting off those last few pounds of water.
That's when you should be watching Kobra Kai. And it'll motivate you.
Keep me from yelling. I bet it will, because it'll keep me from yelling.
Just don't use any of the techniques you see on the show in your fight, because like that doesn't work. But it is a fun time. It's like a lot of great nostalgia. I hear a lot of thunder outside, which tells me that I'm probably going to lose power and internet and everything else pretty soon. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest? Can you let the folks know where they can find you on social media and everything like that?
So you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Serena Southpaw. Keep tuned in on my social media because I'll be finally allowed to announce the promotion I'll be fighting for. It is on UFC Fight Pass. It'll be in Miami, September 25th. And I'm aiming to put on a show for you guys, because y'all won't be in there to watch me live. So tune in or find a way to do so. So just want to thank all my sponsors. I've actually got a few new ones who have jumped on, and I'll be listing them later. So thank you guys, and thank you, Bill, for having me on in such short notice.
No, thank you for saving my ass and jumping on here last minute, because I was like, oh, I'll record the episode. Oh shit, Jeff's on a hiatus. I forgot. So all the best to Jeff the Animal Wilson while he's, getting settled in his new job and everything like that. So Send some positive vibes to him at animal_Wilson, Twitter and Instagram. You guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks everywhere. If you guys want an MMA on the Rocks t-shirt, link is in the show notes. Make sure to put it there, or it's in the bio of my Instagram. And that's all.
The shirt is super soft and amazing, so please get that shirt. It's really nice, actually. I love it.
Appreciate that. And best of luck to your teammate Roxanne Modafferi on Saturday night. I'll be looking forward to her fight, as well as Billy Quarantillo and Matt Frivola. There's going to be a lot of one-sided cheering from the opinions you've heard on this podcast, and that's all right, because I produce this show, so I make the rules. So we can be biased. All right.
Exactly.
So that's all we got. Until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.